What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial video. This is It's Just Stuff, and I'm going to show you how to manage yours. This is going to be a vault tutorial video on how to conserve space as efficiently and effectively as possible. My first video was a full complete tutorial, beginner's guide. I will link that as a card up in the corners here somewhere. Please go check that out if you haven't already, because this is going to be a direct follow-up to that. So once you have already completed your first raid and you are starting to get some of your first like abundant amounts of loot, don't be that guy that just kind of throws it everywhere. You know what I mean? Organize it a little bit, and I'm going to show you just how to do that. Because when you're starting out, you're gonna have some backpacks like the compact knapsack, some of those other backpacks and stuff that come with the game, the game version that you purchased, depending on which one you purchased. The first tip that I'm going to give is going to be, you can use your roster characters as llamas, as loot llamas. So for me, I'm using my largest backpacks, the 𝐏𝐸𝐵𝐿𝐴𝐻 and the Pilgrim side bag, and I'm just completely loading them with my huge amounts of items like my oil, my gunpowder, my genuine smokeless, my number 5, my metal shears, like my tools, the 1 slot items and the 2 slot items that take up way too much inventory right now that we do not currently have a way to store. Move those into here. Or maybe you just want to move some of your 3 slot tools because you didn't have like a version that came with 2 safes like the Founders Edition, or maybe you didn't even get the $40 version, maybe you got the $20 version and you don't have any of these safes that can hold all of your machinery. So what you'll want to do then is just, you'll want to take your compact knapsack and just load it down with your pickaxes, and then on your roster you'll grab some free characters. Always leave, you know, literally like 1 or 2 that you can run for actual gameplay. So for me, I have 1 character at all times that I can run for actual gameplay. I do wish that they would allow us to dismiss characters, because that would give us the ability to purchase a free hunter and then grab all the gear off of them early on and then dismiss them, so that way you can purchase a character that maybe has better capabilities, you know, because the negative debuffs that we spoke about in my first video, they're pretty relentless, like, you know, battle scarred or slow sprinter, or even like lame. Anything that has a negative attribute towards sprinting speed, or stamina regeneration, or stamina in general is really just going to be a horrible experience. So it would be nice if we could just like recruit these free guys and then remove the pepper box and the stack of ammo and like the small side bag and the miniature haversack, because if you get down bad and you're dying enough, you're going to run into a problem where you don't have any backpacks, you don't have any equipment to run because you brought everything in, and then you have to wait for your refresh on your free hunters, which I think the full refresh is like somewhere in the range of an hour. So you don't want to end up like that guy, right? So having like a backstock of items is definitely going to be the way to go. So what you're going to want to do is just recruit a free hunter, and then in your equipment, your vault, you're just going to, you know, fill up your bags with whatever you want and then store them here, and that will clear up space in your vault and make the whole thing more efficient. And then let's say you had some of those items that are in your backpack and you end up having enough room in your vault to bring that backpack back in later. You can just simply drag this backpack back in, go to workshop, and all of the tools that are within that backpack will then be readily available. They'll be able to be used. And as soon as you hit that crafting button, the durability on your tools is already taken. So if you cancel, like let's say right now I was crafting like this black walnut log. So if I wanted to craft a black walnut log, let's go down here to woodworking. It takes 4.7% of durability of my axe, right? If I abort the crafting on this walnut log, I will not get that back. So it doesn't matter. So as soon as you put that in your workshop, it will take the durability off of your tools, and then you can just drag said backpack with those tools back into your llama in your roster. There's also one other aspect that you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to, and that's if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your vault, you'll be able to see that you have a vault extension requirement, and it's going to require glue, oak logs, and extension permits. Extension permits you're going to find everywhere in raid. Almost every single burlap sack on the ground that looks like a trash bag, every single container you find on the ground, all of it. You're going to find so many of these permits, and when you think you have enough, get even more. I think in total from level 1 all the way to level 50, you're going to need somewhere in the neighborhood of like 500 basic vault extensions. So as many as you can possibly muster, you want to grab. As far as the oak logs, your workshop, you really want to make sure that you're running your workshop when you're offline. Me personally, I'm kind of a nerd. Every night before I go to bed, I fill up the 20 slots of my workshop, and then every morning before I go to work, I spend, you know, while I'm eating my little bowl of cereal before I'm going to work or whatever, I empty out my workshop and then fill it back up again. So that way when you're offline and you're not doing anything anyway, it's just getting all of your basic materials, because you can do all this with just tools, axes, pickaxes, etc. But you're going to need all of your oak logs. So I definitely recommend this when you're starting out, put 10 to 20 oak logs just right off the bat straight into your workshops. That way in one day you have everything you need for your first vault extension, because the vault extension alone is going to clear up a bunch of inventory space and allow you to alleviate some of this issue of having too much loot and not enough room. My next recommendation for vault inventory management is actually going to be a pretty clever one. I cannot take the credit for this idea. I can't even remember who told me this idea, but it is the best inventory management, vault management, space saving idea that will help you out in the long run. And if the sooner you start getting these materials to make these items, the faster you will be able to have all the room you need to be able to store your biggest loot. So apparel containers. All right, we're going to directly compare an apparel container to a meat locker. Okay, a meat locker is a 3x4 container that only holds 16 slots, and in those 16 slots you can have a fish that will, you know, is a 2 slot, so that's nice. But an apparel container has 12 slots. So if you go to your workshop and then go into your clothing and then you go to leather jacket, you can make a budget friendly set of armor that has 2 medium slot pockets. So medium slot pockets you can fit 2 slot items into. The only 2 slot items you cannot put into that are machinery. So you can put all your fish, you can put any 2 slot item that is not a machine, you can put in these leather jackets. So this is going to cost you some boar skin, but in the long run that's not going to be that hard to get. You can get boar skin all over the place from the TP settlements, etc. So I highly recommend farming as much of this boar skin as you can and then crafting as many of these apparel boxes as you can, because when, like I said, directly comparing this to a meat locker, if you have 12 pieces of armor that can hold 2 medium slots, you have 24 slots in a 2x3 container that you can store all of your fish, all of your tools, whatever the case. I even personally use a similar build to this. So I use the single pockets, the small pockets, and I put all of my little first aid boxes in here. So I know for me, as soon as I'm in my menu, this box right here, these 2 are going to be my aids. Okay, these are going to be for my actual clothes. Down here, these are all going to be like my tool items, like my basic molding tools, my compacts, whatever. Any of my 2 slot tools always end up in these leather jacket medium pockets. It is the most clutch inventory management thing that you can have at your disposal. I cannot recommend that like anymore. But this is going to be a rather short video. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there for you guys because I feel like that's not really common knowledge, and I wish I had known that earlier. Just speaking of which, in order to craft the apparel container, so you're going to need some glue, etc. So for an apparel trunk, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1320 gram stacks of walnut log. You're going to need 490 milliliters of glue, a chisel, a hammer, and then the hook latch. The hook latch is probably going to be the largest bottleneck because everything else simply just takes time. The hook latch can be found on all the tables of the compounds. The widow's cabin, you can find it at lumber mill. You can find it on the table of Fort Dixon. You can find it in Fort Barry. You can find it in Military Medic. You can find them, they're abundant. Look on the tables of every single compound. Dixon especially, there's 2 tables that aren't even behind locked doors in there. One's going to be on the right hand side of the house, and one's going to be out in front of the shed behind the haystack. Highly recommend that you check for those and grab as many of these hook latches as you can, because like I said, you're going to need as many of these apparel boxes as you can. Because for me, I'm using 3 full trunks just for my tools. I'm using 2 for my clothes that I take out in raid. I'm using 2 for my aid boxes, and I still need more to consolidate my fish lockers. Or all of my meat lockers. Once I do, I can completely delete these, and 2x3 instead of 3x4, I'm going to save all of that space. So it's definitely worth it. And I also just want to say thank you guys so much for all of your support on my first video. It was absolutely incredible, all the feedback that we got in the comment section. If you guys want to see more videos just like this, they're going to be coming. I have a lot of ideas, and they're on the way, man. So thank you so much for being here. Be sure to smash that like button, comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.